Hey folks, Rich Yvon here from Twin Maple Outdoors here in northern Maine. I just got done harvesting this 11-point buck. I've got my Dexter tools here, getting ready to do some processing. You can get yours at dexteroutdoors.com. Hey folks, we obviously field dressed this deer, but to do so we used our Dexter gutting knife and we used our Dexter stiff boning knife. Now I'd like to move to our next step in caping our deer. So we're going to start by making our circle cut around the deer. You want to be about 12 inches behind the shoulder. Hey, what I really like about this caping knife, besides the slip-free grip, would be the blade itself. When I hold it with my finger, it's got a beautiful rest for my finger, so I'm in complete control and feel 100% confident and safe while using it. Now we're going to cut the front legs off using our stiff boning knife, and we're going to cut right into the knee. So you work it in here like that. Take our stiff boning knife, we're going to cut right up on this natural white and brown line back of the leg. We're going to follow it up, continue on up to the side to the center cut. This will allow us to pull our skin down over the animal, down to the neck, giving our taxidermist plenty of material to work with. Being very careful not to make any cuts. We have a lot of fat on this deer. It's a northern Maine deer. We have very cold winters, and you can see that this deer was getting ready to winter over. Okay, when you can, you want to just pull it down. Don't hold the knife straight in, but flat. It's right here. We're not cutting into our, we don't want to cut into our cape and make a hole. Okay. Nice and easy. Let the knife do the work. The knife's extremely sharp. The hide's very thick. There's a lot of fat. These northern deer really have a real thick protection of skin and fur, more so than a southern deer. Now I'm just trimming it. I'm holding the blade flat, and it's helping me take some of this skin that's being very reluctant to coming off because of the temperatures. So we got the skin down as far as we can get it. The deer has been hanging for a few days. The skin's on very tight. We got it down, and now I'm cutting it above the skin line so not to nick the cape, and trying to get as much meat as we can. We couldn't get all the meat that we wanted, but we're going to play it safe, and we're going to make sure that we get our cape in good condition. We're using the stiff boning knife to get the neck off. And here's our head with our cape. We're using our stiff boning knife, and we're going to go right up the inside, right up here, and we're going to do both sides, and then we're going to take the skin right off the quarter of the deer. This hide is so thick it would make real good leather gloves. This boning knife is nice and stiff. It gets right into the places where you need to cut. So now we get to one of my favorite parts on the deer, is the loin, or a tenderloin. It's located right here in the center of the deer, right in the back of the rib cage. You got two strips right here. We're going to take those out. We're going to use our caping knife. You can use almost any knife. I prefer this one because it's nice. You can really feel the cut down right through there. So you want to follow that right down parallel to the deer. Okay, cut right down there like that. Once you get it started, one end, just get your knife down in there and cut it right down. And there's your loin. Beautiful. I can't wait to eat these on the fire disc. So while I'm processing the deer and I'm cutting out the loins or whatever I'm cutting and I might have missed something with my knife, I always follow up with the knife, cut out as much as I can so I don't waste any meat. We'll take anything that's really edible and we'll put it into our hamburger pile where we mix our pork fat, grind it up, and then we have our hamburger. If it's something that doesn't look very good, it looks like it's dried up or whatever have you, we'll take that, we'll cut it off the animal and we'll put it into in a scrap pile and we'll throw that in the garbage. For this process, we're going to use our Dexter flexible boning knife. This deboning knife here we're going to use, and basically it's got the Dex steel, which is flexible, which Dexter is famous for. Does a really nice job. We can get close to the bone, get off as much meat as possible in one chunk. So the first thing we're going to do with this deer is we're going to take off the membrane to expose the back straps. The back straps, there's two of them located on each side of the deer, and it goes right down basically to the neck and comes up to this bone right about here. So we're going to first take off the membrane. Here we go. So there's our beautiful back strap right here. We took off that 2 layers of fat and a membrane, and now it exposed our back strap, which we're going to leave that silver lining on the meat. We'll leave that on there until we're actually ready to cook. When we go to cook it, we can actually take that membrane off and then put it in the pan. As you can see, I'm peeling back this membrane, and I'm using a knife to assist that, because if I don't use the knife, I'm just peeling it off, and in these conditions of little cold temperatures, it will actually peel the meat and stick to the membrane, and then now we're wasting meat. Not wasting it, we can turn it off later, but we don't want that to happen. We want to take this off in one piece. So we're using the knife to assist taking that membrane off, just like so. It's razor sharp. See how nice that comes off? Beautiful. So here we are, we took the meat off of this back strap on this side. Now we're going to continue on and do the second back strap. And you can see we went right down to the neck, and right underneath the bone here, came right down. Normally, this bone right here is what I used, but I came in here and I grabbed some because it was falling off anyway, so I trimmed it off. But this is the bone right here that we're going to follow this bone, come down here, right down to the neck. And then we'll find out what that bone is. It's right here. You can see that. I'm going to match it up on this side, come across. You want to be right underneath it. Number 2, back strap. Can't wait to put these in the fire disc. So here I am, I'm trimming off a little bit of meat that I missed. This meat being just about frozen, I missed some of it, so I'm just trimming it. Again, I'm just trimming the meat down and making sure I get all of it right down to the bone. Here's another beautiful piece of meat. The legs can come off with a regular knife. All this meat that you see left on the deer here, we're gonna actually debone, and we're gonna use it in our scraps for our hamburger. We've got a roast here, or we can use it for hamburger. We can debone our ribs, and then finally we have our steaks or a hamburger, depending on what you want. So we'll go ahead now. We're going to take the neck off. here you have a beautiful roast, or you can actually debone it and make it into hamburger. Just for ease and simplicity, I'm going to use a Sawzall to take the rear quarters off. This is what we have left from our deer. We have the 2 quarters. These are the rear quarters. We're going to use them for our steak, butterfly steaks, or we're going to use some meat for the hamburger. We're here with our neck roast off our deer, and we're here to make some hamburger. I've decided I'm not going to have a roast with this deer. Because of the age, I decided to have hamburger. It's a lot more, people like it. My kids love hamburger, so I'm going to go ahead and take that, and I'm going to mix it with pork fat. So I've weighed this. I have 2 pounds of pork fat. I'm going to weigh our neck roast. I'm using a household scale. I don't have a commercial scale. It's just a regular digital household scale that you use. And I got about 13 pounds on the neck roast. With 2 pounds of pork fat, I'm going to trim a little pork fat off, and I'm going to match that up. It's between 10 and 15% is what I want for fat content in my meat. The more gristle you take off and the more deer fat you take off, the better your burger and the better your steak, anything that you're making is going to be. So I kind of just trim it off like so. So here's a good example of taking the deer fat and the gristle out of a really good piece of meat. You don't want to grind that up, you want to take it out. So here is a good piece right here that I'm taking out right here, and I'm going to be putting my knife right through here and just slicing right down along the seam. And you can see, okay, there you go, right there. Look how nice that cuts. It's a beautiful thing. If you look inside here, it's kind of like mixed up evenly and ready for the grinder. So here we have the best part of the deer, folks. It's the deer loin. So we're going to do the back straps at another time, but we're doing the loin tonight. We're going to eat that in a stir fry. So I'm chopping up the loin in some bite-sized pieces, and we're seasoning them a little bit with some garlic salt, and then we're going to fry them in our fire disc along with some broccoli, chopped onion, chopped pepper, and Maine baked potato. I hope you enjoyed the processing of this Maine buck. On behalf of Dexter Outdoors, I'm Rich Yvon, wishing you fun and success in our great outdoors.